Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is Big Grime, and today what do we have? We have the Roland Vs-2400. In my search for a hard disk recorder, I did a lot of research and I landed on the Vs-2480, but there's times where I was looking at the Vs-2400 and trying to decide, should I go with the bigger of the two or should I land on the 2400? And for some people, I would think the 2400 may be a better fit. For one, the size. Look at the 2480. It's pretty big compared to the 2400. Now, for some people like myself, the size doesn't matter because I'm using this as a studio unit. But if you are using a recorder to record your gigs, or you are like a mobile engineer or producer, then something like this may be better just because it's smaller and more compact for you to carry. I mean, you can carry the 2480, but I mean, it is bigger and heavier, and so I think it's just the 2400 would be a better mobile unit. So the 2400 is a cut down version of a 2480. So the question would be, why would someone choose a cut down version? Now, don't get me wrong, when I say cut down version, I don't really mean like it's less features. As far as the software, it's pretty much the same. Like I started off with the 2480 and coming over to the 2400, I felt like I was at home. The thing is that is cut down is the amount of knobs and buttons. So for instance, let's just say to pan on a 2480, I have panning knobs that I can just change the panning. Well, on the 2400, they have a button, and then for each track, I can change the panning using this. That's track 1. If I want to go to track 2, go to track 2, and I can change the panning. So it's not as direct as the 2480, but you're really not losing features. I'll say the next thing is the 2400 can only use 4 effects. If you have 2 effects cards, you can use 4 effects, where on the 2480 is 8 effects. So if a lot of effects is important to you, then of course you would go with the 2480. But generally speaking, especially if you're going to eventually transfer it to a DAW on your computer, that's not a big deal. You still have 8 aux ins. So if you expand this using Rbus, you can still send out and send your sounds to an external effects unit. Speaking of Rbus, the difference is the 2480 has 2 Rbus and this has 1 Rbus. So you can expand the ins and outs by 8 more on this, because each Rbus gives you 8 in, 8 out. So of course with the 2480, you can extend it to 16 more inputs. This also physically only have 8 inputs, and the 2480 has 16 inputs without even using the Rbus. So if inputs are not important to you, you don't need a lot of inputs, then the 2400 is great too. So even though the 2480 has more hands-on direct, I mean, you still have your parameter buttons that you can choose: EQ, dynamics, panning, effects. Also, of course, you have a mouse like you would on your regular DAW, so that kind of makes things, easier to use. So the most advantage that the 2400 has over the 2480 is price. Now, on the average, the 2400 goes for about $400. Sometimes you see them listed at $500, $600 at the most, but you really not going to see these selling for $600. So we're going to say like $400 to $500, where The 2480, they sell for about $900. Sometimes you may see them $1,000, depending on like if they have extra cards and stuff. Then the price can go up from there. But generally speaking, 2400 is working just fine. It's about 900. So you can kind of get a 2480 unit for $400 just with the cut down features of the inputs and stuff. To add more control similar to the 2480, you can get a Roland VE-7000, and that adds the EQ knobs and stuff like that that's kind of already on the 2480. They usually sell for about $200, $150, $200, maybe $250, depending on who you get it from. And you may be saying, well, that's bringing me closer to the price of the 2480. That's true, but again, the size advantage, also the ability to be able to buy this first and then buy the other piece later. So there's still advantages to that. You don't have to get that, but it does give you more hands control over your 2400. All right, I think that's all I need to say about it. Let's make a beat with it. Let's make some music. Alright, so thanks for watching. Just to let you know, I got a beat tape I just released. It's called Grime Time Volume 2. I got multiple beat albums on Spotify, different streaming forms, and soon I'll have them on cassette tape and CD to buy. So make sure you check those out, biggrime.net, and I'll keep you updated on when all these things are going to release. But for right now, Grime Time Volume 2 is on all streaming platforms, including YouTube. Alright? Thanks for watching. Peace.